lately it's come to my attention that a bunch of people, especially on YouTube, are saying that, oh, Scotty's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know anything about electric cars.
I've been responding to Scotty's videos for a while now. So when I saw this one, I thought it might be about me. What's that song? You're so vain. Anyways, he doesn't call me out personally, but that's okay. I don't think Scotty is an actual idiot here. I think he's a smart guy who knows a lot about internal combustion engine vehicles. He's been a mechanic for a long time, but he's really become sort of an alarmist and really just gives a negative spin to anything about electric vehicles. And I don't understand why. Scotty would say that he's being honest. And today, that's what I want to dive into, is seeing whether or not he's being honest when he talks about his takes on electric cars.
I want to set the record straight. No, I'm not sponsored by anyone. I don't do sponsored videos. I try things out that people send me, like these Chinese electric bicycles. They send them, and I try them out. If they're good, I say they're good. If they're bad, if you've seen some of my bad ones, I'll say, whew, some of these things are just a pile of crap.
The thing is, Scotty, is that you were given those products. You didn't have to send them back, as evidence from them still being in your garage here. This is known as an exchange of value. Even though you weren't paid cash, you still received something of value in exchange for your review, which is a form of sponsorship. Don't take my word for it, though. Let's see what the Federal Trade Commission guidelines on disclosures for influencers have to say. So here on the FTC website, you can see that there's a section here that says when to disclose. And it says that you should disclose when you have any financial, employment, personal, or family relationship with the brand. Financial relationships are not limited to money. Disclose the relationship if you got anything of value to mention a product. If a brand gives you a free or discounted products or other perks and then you mention one of its products, make a disclosure even if you weren't asked to mention that product. Don't assume your followers already know about your brand relationships, and make disclosures even if you think your evaluations are unbiased. So Scotty, you're actually admitting to violating these rules here because you were given these products, which are valued well above thousands of dollars each, in exchange for your review. That is a sponsorship. Now, beyond violating the FTC rules here by accepting these products in exchange for services, you may also have violated tax law in the US. Now, there's a great YouTuber, Jasmine DeLucci, who talks about a lot of this, and I'll let her explain.
The gift in substance is getting something in return for nothing. It does not then follow to say that a gift is actually getting something in return for something else, but it's just not guaranteed. That is not a gift, that is property in exchange for services. So unless you have some special relationship like family, there's almost always going to be expectation in return for anything of significant value. And you cannot do a workaround for the substance of income by saying, but it's not guaranteed. And for more accurate tax advice from a tax attorney, subscribe.
So is Scotty being honest when he says he's not sponsored by anyone and he just tells it like it is? I'm guessing that the FTC and the IRS would argue otherwise. So, sorry, Scotty, thumbs down on this one. Before I go on, we need to talk about something important. Come closer. It's about your online security. You've undoubtedly heard of the countless data breaches out there or know someone that has had their Instagram hacked. This all starts with poor online security, and that's where today's sponsor, Surfshark VPN, comes in. I was just in Italy on a vacation with my wife, and while there, we didn't want to miss out on the latest episode of our favorite show. But of course, being in a different country, we couldn't watch it. With over 3,200 servers across 100 countries, we were able to VPN back into the US and catch up on our shows while we were dealing with the jet lag. It was honestly nice being able to sit down and have that time just to relax and unwind without the worry of being able to watch these shows because we knew we had Surfshark VPN. And of course, while traveling, we used loads of public Wi-Fi networks without any worry because we know Surfshark VPN had our back. Surfshark's clean web tech also blocks ads, malware, and trackers, keeping us safe while we're out and about. Another thing I love is the unlimited device policy. Between my wife, my work, and my 2 kids, the number of devices we have seems like it's never ending. And with Surfshark, we only need one account to protect all of our devices. Plus, with features like no borders mode and kill switch, you can stay protected even in restrictive regions during unexpected disconnections. And as of right now, as of this very moment, they are offering you Black Friday pricing early just for being a loyal viewer of my channel here. Head over to surfshark.com/Sultans for 4 extra months of Surfshark at an unbeatable price and secure your online activity today. Now let's get back to the video.
It takes a tremendous amount of electricity to push a car along. Even a little thing like our Matrix. A lot of energy. The battery in a Cybertruck weighs about 1,600 pounds. Tremendous amount of weight. Very expensive batteries. Take a long time to charge. At least as they stand today, maybe there'll be some radical transformation, who knows. They always promise stuff, but just like Elon Musk promising stuff, don't believe his promises. Believe it when the rubber hits the road and you see what actually is out there.
I'll agree with you partially here, Scotty, that we shouldn't be buying products based on the promise of future updates, whether it be from an iPhone or a car, whatever the case may be. But of course, your argument here that the battery being heavy is a bug versus a feature, I think is actually backwards. The battery being heavy is actually what makes EVs safer, at least for the passengers inside. So looking at the data behind that, we see that the Insurance Institute for Highway and Safety, the IIHS, has conducted lots of crash tests on both EVs and ICE vehicles, with many EVs achieving a top safety rating. For instance, the Tesla Model 3, the Tesla Model Y, the Rivian R1T, and the Genesis GV60 all received the IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus Award. Now, in addition to the ratings that we have, we also know that they're safer in terms of actual injuries reported. How? Well, a study by the Highway Loss Data Institute, the HLDI, analyzed insurance claims for EVs and comparable ICE vehicles. The findings revealed that the injury claims for EV drivers and passengers were over 40% lower than that for similar ICE models. This reduction is attributed to the additional weight of EVs, which can offer enhanced protection during collisions. Now, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, however. Heavier vehicles in general will be safer, but that's for the passengers inside of them, not for the people in the other vehicle if that vehicle is lighter and it's involved in a crash. Now, guess what, though? The average weight of new vehicles in the U.S. has been increasing, with trucks now more than 29% heavier than they were back in 1975. So if Scotty really cared about safety here, he would care about the weight of all vehicles, not just electric ones, again, showing that he is biased specifically against EVs for some reason.
Now, you notice the companies give me these bikes to try out. Well, if you've watched my videos, I test them out honestly, right? I like these. The one in the garage is a piece of crap, but the companies at least sent me them. I have challenged every car company in the world to send me an electric car for like 6 months to actually try it out. I have the equipment to work on them, but I shouldn't have to work on them if they're new, of course. But I check out used ones all the time for customers that are thinking about buying a used electric car. But no company has offered to send me one. They obviously don't stand behind the things. They're afraid of sending me one.
Wait. So he's not sponsored in any way. He's always honest, Savage Scotty and all that, despite standing in front of the tens of thousands of dollars in free products that he were given to talk about. And only if a car company would give him a free EV for 6 to 8 months, he'd probably like it. Notice too, when he said that they'd have to send him the tools to work on it, he showed all the products that he's hawking in the description of his videos. This is called product placement. And what does the FTC have to say about product placements on television shows? Well, the FCC law, FCC, not FTC, requires TV stations to include disclosures of product placements on TV shows. Think about those infomercials that you see. This is a paid product placement. The FTC has expressed an opinion that under the FTC Act, product placement that is merely showing products or brands in third-party entertainment content as distinguished from sponsored content or disguised commercials doesn't require a disclosure that advertisers paid for the placement. But of course, that's not what he's doing here. He's telling you that you need these tools to work on your car, and the link to buy them, of which he earns a commission on, is in the description. That is the definition of a paid product placement, but not sponsored, right? I will give him points for the arrogance on display here, saying that these EV makers don't stand behind their products because they won't give them one. That's like saying the hot girl at the bar must be a lesbian because she won't give you her phone number.
And my father was always mad at me. He says, Dad, you got to charge him more money. We have overhead. We got to pay for this. He just liked helping people out. And so do I. And that's one of the reasons that I warn people about electric cars.
But as you just told us, Scotty, your opinion on them would change if you were sponsored by an EV maker. Sorry. I mean, if they sent you one for free for a year. Yeah, not sponsored though.
There are a zillion reasons I tell people I wouldn't advise buying an electric car, but mainly it comes down to one big thing, and that's planned obsolescence. My neighbor behind me had a friend. His Tesla hit a curb when it was on autopilot, broke the wheel, motor in the front broke. It dented the battery on the bottom of the car. They totaled the car, even though it was a beautiful car and only had 30,000 miles on it. went to the junkyard. This is planned obsolescence, and in the long run, the people that buy them will end up paying for this planned obsolescence.
Yeah, no, that's not actually what planned obsolescence is. That's what a car with a severe frontal impact is. Planned obsolescence is a business strategy where products are intentionally designed with a limited lifespan or to become outdated quickly, encouraging us consumers to purchase replacements sooner than is necessary. The best example of this is your smartphone. Every year, every smartphone maker comes out with a new model that is slightly better than the last model, hoping to get you to buy a new one. Then shortly thereafter, the battery in your old one stops working and they don't support the new apps that you want, so you're kind of forced into it. And yes, of course, the majority of the auto industry does this as well, coming out with new models each year with small changes to the taillights or a new button that you didn't know you needed. And ironically, Tesla is one of the few automakers that doesn't do this. They don't update the vehicles based on the model year. So each year, they're not trying to get you to buy a new one with some dumb little new feature. Rather, they make the upgrades when they're ready, which could be every year or every several years. This is why if you're looking at a Tesla, I always recommend buying a used one, because unlike smartphones, the old ones and the new ones are almost identical in a lot of cases.
They build them so they can build them as cheaply as possible. Tesla, they have their giant mega press where they press this giant aluminum piece for a large part of the car. They'd say, oh, it used to have, 36 different pieces. Now it's only got one. Look, it's better for production. Guess what happens when that one piece breaks? Again, they will total the car because the entire car's bolted on there and it is aluminum. Can't really fix aluminum. For years, Audi was one of the early ones to make aluminum framed cars. They get in a wreck and that frame gets broken, they go to the junkyard. You can't fix. People love selling you something that's going to break, and then you got another one when it breaks.
Now, here's where he's showing his actual lack of knowledge about Teslas specifically. Yes, they are made with aluminum, like a lot of cars out there, including F-150s and many other vehicles, but not entirely. Now, I know this because 6 years ago, I hit a curb with my Model 3 and damaged the side rocker panel. That side rocker panel is actually different kinds of steel, and it turns out it's easily repairable.
Now, I always laugh because people say, oh, Scotty, he hates electric cars. I don't hate anything. I tell people the truth about technologies.
Right. As long as you send me thousands of dollars in free products, I'm going to tell the truth about it. Right? Come on, Scotty, man. No one believes this anymore. Case in point.
So again, I challenge the electric car manufacturers. Send me one for 6 months or so. Year would be better for a good test. I'll honestly test them out.
Hey, sign me too up while you're at it. I bet all of us would sell out for a free car for a year. But hey.
What I really can't understand is this belief in electric cars. It's become almost a religion among some of these people. And, oh, for sure, this is the way it's going to go. And it's told by people who either are just into believing in just about anything, they're talked into it, or more sinister, if you see a lot of people that make videos about them, if you look, their links for selling electric cars or car batteries or solar panels or something, they're trying to make money doing it. So of course, they're all going to be for it.
Yeah, could you imagine someone doing a review of a product in exchange for thousands of dollars of free stuff? Then conveniently pushing the products that they sell through affiliates in the description while saying they're not sponsored and they're always telling the truth. What kind of person would do such a thing? Now, personally, I don't think someone should care about the benefit to the environment when considering an EV. I think what he's talking about is folks that really get on the high horse and want to green shame everybody. Yes, there are some benefits to the planet. But more importantly, there are huge benefits when it comes to reduced air pollution and noise pollution. Those are the more tangible societal benefits that I think matter. In fact, the American Lung Association did a study on this, and they found that by switching over to 100% EVs by 2050 could lead to nearly $1 trillion in public health benefits. That's 11 million fewer sick days, 2 million fewer asthma attacks, and nearly 90,000 fewer premature deaths. And for me, this is personal. I lost my mother to an air pollution-related illness 14 years ago. So that's why I do it. Not because of some green ideology or some fairy tale that switching to EVs is going to solve climate change. The bottom line is they're cheaper, safer, and more fun to drive than a comparable gas car, which is another way of saying that they're just better in every meaningful way to you as the consumer.
Let's face the facts. They're not popular. They're not selling like hotcakes. They're not going to make money on their own, so it has to be pushed by government nonsense. And then anybody who's on the gravy train, they're all going to say, oh yeah, oh, it's a savior, electric cars. You can't stop it, you can't stop it, you got to keep them going. There comes a time when people should sit down and say, hey, maybe it wasn't such a hot idea.
Meanwhile, back on planet Earth here, EV sales soared up to record highs in Q3, up 11% year over year, accounting for almost 9% of all car sales. And thanks to our friends at Recurrent Auto, we have some good data here that actually tell an even brighter picture. First, we're seeing prices for used EVs stabilize around $25,000, which is conveniently the cutoff for the $4,000 tax credit. Depreciation of new EVs also got better and is now approaching the industry average, which was a big concern for a lot of people. And EV lease rates have skyrocketed to double the industry average. And on top of that, we have the used EV market, which is up 69% year over year. We also see that the new EV days supply has remained stable, showing a consistent demand for EVs, despite what people may say on the internet.
People are not going to invest in an infrastructure and building it unless they're going to make money. Would you build an electric charging station if you can't make much of a profit on it? Of course you wouldn't.
Right, so he's arguing that we should never do anything unless it's profitable from day one, and that the government should spend $0 building out infrastructure regardless of the industry. But what does history have to say about this? Well, back in 1956, there was the Federal Aid Highway Act. Not sure if Scotty may have voted for this. Maybe you can ask him sometime if I ever get to talk to him. And while it's true that the government didn't pay for gas stations with this bill, they did fund the interstate highway system to the tune of $25 billion at the time to build out 41,000 miles of roads across the U.S. And honestly, to me, that sounds like a pretty good deal. $25 billion for 41,000 miles seems like a reasonable amount, considering how valuable that is to the entire economy. But what is that number in today's dollars? Inflation adjusted, that $25 billion back in 1956 is now worth over $289 billion. Could you imagine the pushback trying to get something through the government to spend almost $300 billion? What is that? Almost 40% of the military budget on something to prop up an industry, the automotive industry? That just wouldn't work unless they had good lobbying and maybe some of those politicians were bought and paid for. But I digress. If you want to compare that to the $7.5 billion Bipartisan Infrastructure Investment Act, we're looking at 500,000 EV chargers with that $7.5 billion infrastructure bill. Now, some of those are funded directly by the federal government, which are slow and take forever and are very expensive. And some of it is giving subsidies to companies like Tesla to build it out on their own. Now, previously, I've debunked the $8 billion for 8 chargers line that Trump keeps throwing out there. And I did mention that with that, they're planning to build out around 3,000 chargers. But that isn't the whole story. The money will directly fund some chargers, as I mentioned, but it also will support companies like Tesla building out more of their chargers so long as that they're open to other EV makers. And as of today, that is very much the case. Ford, GM, Hyundai, Polestar, Genesis, Rivian, all these companies now are able to use the Tesla Supercharger network because of this bill. Now, that's 500,000 chargers that they're looking to build up the network to for $7.5 billion, or about $15,000 per charger. Not nearly as bad as the original math that a lot of you guys pointed out in the comment section. So just a small correction there. Now from here, Scotty continued on repeating some of the same old lies that he said before, all while knowing that they're not true. That's why I call them a lie, because he's demonstrated that he knows these things aren't true and he says them anyways. So I'll let him be in his garage waving his arms from now on. But I just want to take a second to thank all of you for the love and support that you guys have shown me recently as I've embarked on this new journey to fight back against misinformation surrounding EVs. Because, as I mentioned, it's personal for me. And I want to give you guys more access here. Today, I'm excited to launch channel memberships here on YouTube. As a member, you'll get early access to videos, a private Discord server just for members where you can chat also with me directly. You'll get loyalty badges, custom emojis, and even behind-the-scenes content. You may have noticed, actually, that I'm in a new studio here. This is a new studio that I built. It's an entirely off-grid space in my backyard, and I just posted the behind-the-scenes tour of it for members. So if you want to support the channel and see more content like this or like my tour of the studio here, check the join button down below, sign up, and I will see you guys on the inside. But no worries if not. I'm still going to be posting tons of debunking videos here on YouTube for anyone to see free of charge. Like this one I did over here where I debunked some of what Joe Rogan was saying when he had Trump on recently. So have a look at that one. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'll see you back here next time.